Okay, the last part of section 1 talks about the first modern war, and being the Civil War. A little thing that makes it different than previous wars, like in Europe, the past 2 centuries, where normally they were smaller armies, so forth, with some type of goals. Where the Civil War has huge number of army size. You will see this when we talk about the size of the army, and also most of them are volunteer, so they don't have the experience. Also to the other side of it is a lot of them are not only disciplined, but they fight in old tactics. Old tactics with new technology. Okay, which means that's a dangerous combination when you have the old way of getting in lines, getting tight formation, attack, charge, tight columns, and you're going to experience heavy fire, and you're going to get hit by this new technology, these new weapons that we're going to talk about in just a minute. So that's one thing that makes a big difference. Also, first modern wars take place after the Industrial Revolution. That takes place. Also, there's going to be a lot of major changes, like ironclads. We'll talk about that, with getting away from the wooden Navy ships to having ironclads, or even near the end, the siege at Petersburg, where you have trench warfare. And then, of course, trench warfare became real famous in World War One. But that's just a couple things. But one of the massive new type of technology is a new cone-shaped bullets used in Civil War. They call them mini ball. Okay, there is a picture of it. It was more accurate, can be fired over a long load faster, and it was easier, fired at a faster rate than previous bullets. All right, and that are mini ball, and this become a very much a game changer. And then the United States, especially in the North, started producing this at a massive rate. And I'm going to show you a video at the end that you need to watch and jot down some things about. Also, the other thing too is a lot of times you'll see troops that will take a defense position. They will barricade or protect themselves behind some type of stone wall, some type of fence, or some type of, later on, like I mentioned, about trenches. And the attacking force are normally going to suffer heavy casualties. There's one time, of course, I'll show you when we get to Gettysburg. You'll see how that takes place. About the attacking force, you're going to lose 500. Then again at Chancellorsville. So there's several times where you attack, you're going to have suffer heavy losses. Also, attrition is a word of wearing down one side through wearing down their soldiers or their resources, which means is wear them down so they get tired of fighting. Okay. Now, Jefferson Davis, president of the Confederacy, wanted to do a defense war of attrition against the Union. That is a warfare which many Southerners did not want to do. They didn't want to sit there and play defense. If you remember back when we talked about the American Revolution, where it was kind of like the colonies had just to survive until Britain and their parliament got tired of paying for the war, just survive. Well, Jefferson Davis wanted to do that, but a lot of people in the South did not want to just sit there and play defense. And several times they are going to go on the offense, and like I mentioned before, normally the attacking side is going to suffer heavy casualties. All right, far as the last two things is a plan that was put in place by the Union, kind of put together by Winfield Scott. He is the guy you saw earlier trying to negotiate with Lee to join in the Union. His plan is the Anaconda Plan. Okay. Now, the Anaconda Plan goals are a couple things. Okay. They wanted to blockade Confederate ports, all major ports along the Atlantic Ocean and across the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. Then they also wanted to send gunboats down and up and down the Mississippi River to divide the South. Okay, that is their goal. Now, of course, if they could go in there at first, go in there and take Richmond and take the capital and end the war, that would be good. But the Anaconda Plan was put into place by Winfield Scott to force the South into giving up. You're going to be watching a video about the mini balls, so jot down some information. There's a little handout that you need to answer and turn in that goes with it. Thank you.